Good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting to order. The City of Belleville acknowledges we are meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations. We recognize and honor the historic relationship of the Indigenous peoples to this land and acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within them. We recognize all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit who call Belleville their home and support their need for cultivating a strong relationship with them. We look forward to fostering a path towards reconciliation and show respect to the Indigenous peoples who first lived and currently live on the land where we now all reside together. Please remain standing for a moment of reflection.
May we be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. Help us to be concerned only for what will promote good government. May we bring to our council chambers minds that think and hearts that feel, always having respect for others, so that we may serve the people of our city in a helpful manner and for the good of all.
Please be seated. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none, I need a motion for approval of the meeting held on October 14th, 25. Moved by Councillor Thompson, second by Councillor Enright-Miller. Discussion from the minutes. All in favor? Carried. Deputations. We have FirstLight Power Battery Energy Storage System here for a requested deputation. We have Elaine Choward, I believe, Community Stakeholder Relation Advisor, and you're here to speak, I guess. The mic is yours.
Thank you. Thanks to you guys for taking the time to meet with us today. We're here on behalf of FirstLight to seek an MSR from Belleville moving forward with the Belleville BESS energy storage projects. I'm Eliane Chouinard. I'm the Community and Stakeholder Relations Advisor, and I'm joined here by Cedric, Mark, and Daniela. We submitted the PowerPoint, which is the full deck of information. We'll move pretty quickly through some of these slides just to respect the agenda, and I hear there's a big baseball game everyone wants to go watch on TV later, but feel free to ask me any questions at the end, and my email is in the last slide as well if anyone has any further questions. So quickly about FirstLight, give you guys a little refresher. We've been in operations for 35 plus years in Canada. We only develop and operate renewable assets, so that includes hydro, wind, solar, and battery energy storage projects. We're fully owned by PSP Investments, which is the pension fund for federal workers in Canada. That includes federal workers as well as the Canadian military and the RCMP. So that provides us with a lot of stability in our investments as we have access to all these great funds. Our company is very much focused on partnership and decarbonizing the grid while, supporting the communities that we work with in and around. We have partnerships on multiple different projects across Canada as well as in the US. So a little bit quickly about battery energy storage as a technology. So BESS stands for Battery Energy Storage System. It doesn't produce any power, but it stores excess power in times of high production so that this power can be pushed back onto the grid in times of low generation and high demand. This helps the grid be more stable and helps us introduce more renewable energy, which is intermittent, while keeping a stable grid across Ontario. This is a question that comes up a lot of the time about decommissioning. So what happens when the project reaches the end of its life? Thankfully, there's been a lot of advancement in the recycling technology of these units, and up to 95% of the materials used in the battery energy storage systems can now be recycled, which is great. So moving on to the project overviews. As some of you may remember, we originally came here a few years back with a project that was 250 to 450 megawatts. We've now changed this and have two smaller projects to propose. The basis for this change was that Hydro One came out with a new set of setbacks. So we had to be set back 100 meters from their right-of-ways. So after applying the setbacks, we got this project, which we now call Belleville South, which is a 40 megawatt project, as well as we identified this other project, Belleville North, which would be 110 megawatts. So in total, that would be 150. Quickly, so this is just a little overview of the meetings we've already had. We've met extensively with, we've met with the mayor, we've met with some planners, as well as with the fire department. So, municipal benefits, what's in it for the community? One of the bigger benefits that we see from projects like this is what we like to call the Community Benefit Fund, which is a monetary payment of $1,000 to $1,500 per megawatt per year. This can be used to support local initiatives, and also a portion of this goes to helping the fire department with specialized equipment, training, everything they need to be able to safely respond in cases of emergencies with the system. And so what this means for Belleville South would be $40,000 to $60,000 a year for 20 years, which comes out to $800,000 to $1.2 million. And for Belleville North, that would be $110,000 to $165,000 a year for 20 years, which comes out to 2.2 or 3.3 million over the 20-year lifespan. Now, these projects are contracted for 20 years, but there are also the possibility of extensions through the ISO. So what we're seeing now is 5-year extension periods. So it could continue to be upgraded and reestablished as well. So what is the MSR? The Municipal Support Resolution is mandatory to submit projects into the ISO's LT2, which is what would give us this 20-year contract. And it's not a construction or a planning approval. What it really is for is to indicate that the municipality has awareness of the project and is generally in support of moving forward to look at the opportunity. This means that if we get selected, if our bid gets picked, we can move forward with full permitting and engagement process, which means more talking to the community, more consulting with you guys, and also with fire departments, things of that nature. All right, so we would love to hear your thoughts on this, as well as any questions. And if there are any questions that come up later, you can always email me, Eliane, or our project manager, Alex, at the emails below.
Okay, Councillor Chapman?
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Thank you, Eliane. Thank you, Cedric, Mark, and Daniela for being here and discussing this with us. I do have a couple of quick questions in terms of the utilization of BESS. And is that during like black and brownout situations for across the city when we have like large scale storms, things like that?
It could be, yeah. So it stores the power that you would produce, right? So let's say solar power is being produced super heavily on a day that it's really sunny out, and then you have a day where it's stormy and rainy and there's not a lot of power being produced. We would take that power from that super sunny day and release it back onto the grid.
Okay, thank you. And in terms of the community-driven projects, are these surrounding the new sites that you are hoping to expand on and build, not the ones that are already functioning, like the north and the south that you had just outlined?
So are you talking about the community benefit payments?
No, the community-driven projects. That was on one of the slides that you had. And specifically, I was thinking engineers, like college grads, were those some of the hires? Like how would it benefit the community for that community-driven projects to be in place?
So the payments that you guys get aren't necessarily to be used fully on things with the site. Okay. So let's say you get the $1,500. About $500 of that would go towards, getting the fire department up to date with their technology, and then the rest of it goes to you guys to utilize as best you see fit. So it doesn't have to be in relation to the project. It could be, upgrading a recreational center. It could be a multitude of different projects that are in the best interest of the community. There are a few guidelines with that, like they can't be politically associated, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But generally, it is up to the council to decide how that money gets used.
Amazing, thank you, that's very helpful. Also, in the sad event that something may happen at one of your sites, whether it is a vandalism, whether it's a leakage of some sort, one of those energy sources causes a problem where fire does have to respond, what do they use to mitigate that fire from a spread or from this becoming a explosion situation?
Right. So the BESS containers they look like big sea cans, right? And they have their own fire retardant services inside. So let's say that the container gets really hot, it'll automatically kind of shut down and create fire retardant. So they've got quite good safety features to begin with. If there is an event of a fire, I would defer to the fire department with all their training and with everything that they've learned, that we've provided the budget for them to go and have the professional opinion on that, for sure.
Okay, excellent. So you in terms of the storage though for batteries, are you storing lithium-based batteries?
Yeah, lithium-ion batteries.
Could I ask just one other question? It's just surrounding, do we have the tools to battle a lithium fire should one begin?
I'll direct that to Chief.
If I may.
Through the chair, it totally depends on the scenario. So small scale, absolutely, we do respond to them in the city now. The difficulty comes with thermal runaway, which our consultants here would be very familiar with. So thermal runaway is very difficult to extinguish, and in a larger scale, recommendations are to let it burn. So in that case, it would be surrounding other battery storage units, keeping them cool and allowing the one that is on fire to burn off.
Okay, so just to follow up to that then, how close are these two areas, the north and south areas that you already have in place to residential properties?
So the north one is the closest to any residential property. It's actually not near anything that's built already, but it's 900 meters away from the proposed development, proposed residential development, which follows all the restrictions and the setbacks that are in place.
Understood. Eliane, thank you very, very much.
Thank
I appreciate your candor.
Councillor Kelly.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Thanks for the presentation tonight. Good to have you back. I know you were kind of got the start in Quebec, and now you're rolling here in Ontario. I guess it's just one quick question was, how many of the municipalities in Ontario are you working with? Because I see a lot of benefits to municipalities for cost savings and lots of other programs. So are you working with lots in Ontario?
So right now we're in the LT2 process, right? So we are proposing other projects in Ontario. I believe we have 3 other projects that are being developed right now, but they're not all on municipal lands. And so some of them would be on Crown lands, whereas the municipality is less involved in the process.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Anybody else? Seeing none, I need a motion to receive. Moved by Councillor Chapman, seconded by Councillor Wright Miller. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll call upon Brandon Ferguson, Director of Finance and Treasurer, for the 2026 capital budget and 10-year capital plan overview.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm very pleased to provide the overview for the 2026 capital budget and 10-year capital plan. If you have any questions throughout, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay. So the timeline for the capital budget and 10-year capital plan started off with our initial surveys and guidelines in June and July, and moved forward to our guideline setting budget release in October, and the finalization of these documents to take place in November 18th. The process was developed to align with the city's asset management plan, budget policies, council guidelines, community feedback, as well as the Strong Mayors legislation. We strongly encourage the community, residents, and stakeholders to visit our website and review the budget and 10-year capital plan information, as well as take the survey to provide your input. This will be open until November 3rd. The slide above outlines the goals and objectives that guided the 10-year capital plan, as well as the capital budget. Core infrastructure remains a top priority, and this has been a keen focus of both the capital budget as well as the 10-year capital plan. While still considering a balanced approach, feedback and guidelines have focused on the delivery of renewal and maintenance projects over growth. Where growth projects have been recommended, they have been substantiated by existing plans and existing approvals. Another key objective has been to utilize a risk-based approach and prioritizing our decision based on asset data. The draft capital budget proposes about $55.5 million worth of infrastructure, and this represents a moderate increase over our 2025 capital budget. In 2026, the city is continuing to focus on core infrastructure such as roads, bridges, and underground water and wastewater infrastructure, representing approximately 67% of the total budget. Additionally, there's an increased level of investment in fire and city fleet that you'll notice, and this is due to some large and important fire pumper and city bus replacements. These investments are also very well aligned with our asset management plan risk assessment and the capital renewal needs for those portfolios. In line with the guidelines and objectives, the renewal activities make up the majority of this year's investment, representing approximately 80%, or just over $44 million worth of infrastructure. Some important renewal activities include over $4.3 million each in both the roads renewal and the water and wastewater relining programs. Continued investment in water and wastewater facilities, such as the water and wastewater treatment plants, as well as pump stations that amount to over $9.5 million in total. Where growth projects have been proposed, the city is ensured to align with approved policies, approved plans, council guidelines, and community priorities. This year, design is continuing for Tracy and Fahey sewer expansion, and this will help support our residential and commercial growth in that area. Also, an important and large growth project that you'll see there is an extension across the 401 is proposed for active transportation and trail extension network. Okay, to fund the proposed 2026 budget, we're seeing similar user rate funded reserve funds, these being the water, wastewater, and parking reserve funds. And we have been able to reduce our reliance on tax-funded reserves while maximizing federal and provincial grant funding opportunities and the casino revenue reserve funds. This will allow the city to build taxation reserve funds to help meet its targets under the city's reserve fund policy and support long-term asset management planning. Debt proposed in the capital budget totals $1.9 million and is being utilized to manage the capital funding for the rural area fire portfolio. Use of both development charges and contingent grant funding has increased this year and is mainly due to projects including the North Riverfront Trail extension noted and the replacement of 5 buses. Where grant funding or donations are yet to be committed, these projects will not move forward until we've secured the grant funding. Okay, for the 10-year capital plan, the above slide outlines the difference between the maintenance and replacement and the new acquisitions that are forecasted in the 10-year capital plan, with a total approximate amount of the portfolio being $1.07 billion for 2026, for the 10 years from 2026. A focus on asset maintenance and replacement continues to ensure that we're adequately managing the city's risks. Combined services and road renewal are a main focus of the program at over $532 million, or approximately 50% of that portfolio. Another important component of the program that you'll see is wastewater, and it includes significant renewal activities throughout the period, as well as an expansion to the wastewater treatment facility in the growth. As noted, there's significant investment in various major reconstruction projects. A map is available on the city's website. I encourage everybody to go online to the 2026 capital budget and 10-year capital planning page. And there will be a map that outlines, tough to see on the slide, every linear reconstruction project predicated over the 10-year period for both relining, major reconstructions, and resurfacing programs for the city, identified by year. The continuation and escalation of the roads resurfacing and underlying underground relining programs reflects a proactive approach for infrastructure upkeep. And large facility renewal projects include the Fire Hall number 2 replacement, Myers Pier, and the wastewater treatment plant. New acquisitions proposed are in line with the asset management plan, as well as several approved growth plans, including development charge background study. Significant growth investments include the water treatment plant expansion, as noted, continued investment in the Loyalist secondary area for residential growth needs through the Avonlow Road redevelopment project, and industrial growth investments focused on continued expansion in the Northeast Industrial Park. For the funding for this plan, overall, reserve funds make up 50% of this funding. Annual increased contributions to the reserve funds are needed, and they're aligned to the approved asset management plan. Ensuring reserve funds don't run into a deficit is the primary objective, while the secondary objective to improve the targeted balances in line with the city's reserve fund policy. Under the proposed program, overall reserve fund targets are being projected to meet their targets by the end of the 10-year period. The estimated level of capital renewal and growth from the asset management plan was used to guide the levels of investment. The focus from the city has been on more aggressive investment on renewal activities to ensure that we're adequately managing adequately managing risk. Significant growth investments have also been considered with a pointed strategy focusing on key priorities aligned with key plans in the strategic plan. So the 2026 10-year capital plan meeting will take place at 9 a.m. on November 18th for council to consider. And we invite all the residents and stakeholders to visit the website for additional information, as well as have their say on the online survey, which is open until November 3rd.
Thank you
Any questions?
for the report. Any questions? Seeing none, I need a motion to be received. Moved by Councillor Enright Miller, seconded by Councillor Brown. All in favor? Carried. Correspondence reparking study. Correspondence dated October 21st from Preparedness Transportation Solution Limited reparking assessment of free downtown parking. Motion be received in conjunction with item 8A1. Moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Thompson. All in favor? Carried. And lastly, the Council Rise and Go Committee of the Whole at 4:25 p.m. to hear and consider reports, passing recommendations and resolutions with Councillor Chatton in the chair. Moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. All in favor? Carried.
So, thank you. Starting out with 8A, reports. Agenda shall include under report items that warrant individual attention from council, beginning with 8A1, comprehensive parking study. The resolution reads, further to the recommendation from the Transportation Committee, the Finance Committee recommends that council approve the recommendations as outlined in the Deputy Clerk's report number DCC 2025-01, comprehensive parking study 2025. Could I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Thompson moved, Councillor Sue seconded. And any discussion? Just a reminder, this was something that was tabled from, okay. No discussion, all in favor? Oh, sorry, was there discussion? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And 8A2, short-term accommodation bylaw. The resolution reads that pursuant to the Manager of Bylaw Enforcement's report number MBECS 2025-30, the draft short-term accommodation bylaw be brought forward to the November 10th, 2025 meeting for Council's consideration. Could I get a mover and a seconder? Councillor Carr and Councillor Brown. Discussion? Councillor Carr, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll just be brief. I just want to say thank you to Councillor Brown and Councillor Henderson. This concludes the work of the Ad Hoc Bylaw Committee, and also would like to thank staff, Ms. Hill in Bylaw, as well as the City Clerk for their support. We've accomplished what Council had set out for us to do, and the short-term accommodation bylaw is the last one, so I'd just like to say thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. Councillor Thompson, go ahead.
Just one question, who may answer it. On page 3 of 20 or 234, staff suggests that the owner-occupied STA be exempt from the license cap and minimum separation distance, as owner-occupied STA are not removing social or local housing stock.
Could I call on Manager of Bylaw Services, please? Thank you.
My question is, you say it's not removing local housing stock. Just because it's a owner-operated, it's not going to remove housing stock. Because there's lots of people are looking for a room to rent permanent. And this is taking that option out of the situation.
Through you, Chair. Great comment. It's worded that way so as to suggest that the person who owns the property is a long-term resident of the property, thereby having that long-term housing still available in the market, whether or not I have 2 empty rooms in my house and choose to rent it out for a weekend, or if I choose to rent it out for a month-long or a 6-month-long period, the original intended housing stock is still there and still very present.
You don't feel that with that in there, it's restricting it strictly to STA, short-term accommodations, and not allowing to rent the rooms out?
Through you, Chair, no, that is not the way that staff have viewed it. However, if you guys would like to revisit it, we absolutely can.
Okay, thank you.
If you don't mind just staying there, Manager Hill. Thank you. Councillor Kelly, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. Just wanted to draw a couple of things for you. In the report, I thought the numbers were a little low, that we have here in the city of Belleville 115 individual short-term accommodations, and one of the numbers was 2 licensed bed and breakfasts. Myself, I don't know if that passes the smell test, but in most communities, if you're doing well with licensed short-term accommodations, in your report it said 70%. And our compliance rate in Belleville is at 35%. So what are ways that the city could really get a true number on who has a short-term accommodations? Because I know that we have more than 2 bed and licensed B&Bs, right? I know that because I know some people that have them. Next time I'm talking to them, I'll ask them, are you registered? So just some thoughts on that.
Through you, Chair. So there's 2 separate licensing regimes that we have going on right now. So we have the business licensing bylaw that governs true bed and breakfast, which we are proposed to transition through this report to the owner-occupied STAs. And then we have what everyone refers to as a B&B, which is the ones that are whole home, the owner's not present, and you just get to rent it out. We have approximately, I think I quoted in my report, 42 licensed whole home STAs, while we have 2 true bed and breakfast licensed under the business licensing bylaw. The idea is to bring those together under one licensing regime so we don't have the confusion about who requires what and the different requirements for each. So while we do absolutely have more that are operating unlicensed, we are aware of 2 licensed B&Bs and about 42 licensed STAs. we have a compliance software called Host Compliance that we use to monitor all of the Airbnbs within, or the whole home STAs, I should say, within our area. And that's where that number 115 comes in. So our licensing rate is low. However, ideally with the strengthening of this bylaw, we have the tools to get people to license.
Follow-up question through you,
go ahead.
Chair. So what's the protocol then for the city? We want some information, just how do we get these individuals that aren't, going through proper channels and getting the license and having that partnership with the city, true numbers? And how do you find out that a home might be used as a B&B or short-term accommodation? Do people report that there's a lot of in and out, different people coming in the home? How do you get that information?
So through you, Chair, if we were to rely on the community to inform us of what is a STA versus a B&B, unfortunately, I don't think we would wind up with a very true number just because it is hard to identify from the street. Oftentimes people who rent places out are coming and going at odd hours just for the sake of travel. I have been there myself. It happens. You come in at weird hours, you leave at weird hours. But we do, like I said, this software that we have, it does scan all of the available listings in the area through several websites such as Airbnb, VRBO, a lot of the cottage rental places and websites that we have going on. So 115 is very close to an accurate number of all of the unlicensed and licensed STAs, whole home / B&Bs. Within our area. And I know that seems quite small compared to our neighbors in the county who have about 1,000 of them, but that is, unless you're renting it on some kind of weird website that we might not be able to track or a different software isn't able to track, that is kind of how we get that true number. And that is very close to an accurate number.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Manager Hill. On to Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund, the resolution reads that the 2025 capital budget item 24-1.001 Avonlow Sewage Pumping Station and Conveyance System, Phase 1, be amended to add the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund utilization in the amount of $16,155,500 and reduce funding from long-term debt. User rate supported. Could I have a mover, Councillor Brown, and a seconded by Councillor Enright Miller? Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. 8A4, the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant. The resolution reads that the 2025 capital budget be amended to increase 1.018 tools and equipment by $38,500 to be funded by the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant. Could I get a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor Enright Miller and Councillor Henderson. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. 4B, this is consent items. I'll go around the table for anyone who'd like to have anything pulled. Councillor Thompson?
No, thank you.
Councillor Carr?
No, thank you.
Councillor Enright Miller?
8B1, please, Chair.
Councillor Sue?
8B2.
Councillor Henderson?
No, thank you.
Mayor?
No, thank you.
Councillor Brown?
No, thank you.
Councillor Kelly?
No, thank you.
So with the exception, I guess that's the only two. So we'll just do 8B1. I'll take Councillor Enright Miller as the motion, and could I just get a seconder to put this on the floor? The resolution does read the Discontinuation of Cultural Exchange Committee. And a seconder, please, Councillor Brown. Any comments or questions, Councillor Brown, or sorry, Enright Miller, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just more of a clarification. So discontinuing of Culture Exchange Committee, does that mean forever and ever? Or are we going to, we just are not filling the positions?
Could I call on Mayor
Yeah, thank
Ellis
you.
just to clarify?
The last culture exchange have been just run out of the mayor's office and the CEO's office rather than a committee, and that's how we're going to do it from moving forward.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Any further questions, comments? Okay, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And on to 8B2. I'll take Councillor Sue as the mover, and could I get a seconder for the resolution? seconded by Councillor Henderson, and it's that the 2025 capital budget item 25-1.070 Dundas Street East Stormwater Oil Grit Separator addition be amended to add $25,000 to be funded from the Asset Management Reserve Fund, and that the tender submission from Advanced Excavating and General Contracting Limited for the request to tender ES 2025-11 T 2025 be accepted in the amount of $149,488.08 plus $19,433.45 HST for a total amount of $168,921.53. This being the lowest cost tender received, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign the acceptance agreement on behalf of the corporation of the city of Belleville, and that the city clerk be authorized to affix the corporate seal. The seconder was Councillor Henderson. And any questions, comments? Go ahead, Councillor Sue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know I'm going to support this, but I just wanted to know a little bit, and I see that Advanced Excavating and General Contracting Limited has submitted the lowest bid for this project. Since I'm not very familiar with this company, I would like to ask a couple of questions for better understanding. Could you share a bit more about their background and experience with a similar municipal or environmental projects? And are the staff confident that even as the lowest bidder, this company has the capacity and track record to deliver the project successfully on time? And that is my question. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to direct that through to Director DeCola, if I could, please.
So Advanced is the lowest bid tender. Most of their work is in different environments, but oil and grit separators are done by general contractors, they're done by developers. This is a project that happens. The scope issue was not something that would be considered disqualifiable. There is minimal scope in the right-of-way, so staff in their review believe that they are competent and capable with an opportunity to provide this development to be completed within the time frame allotted, so hopefully before the end of the year.
Does that help, Councillor Sue?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. On to 8C, information items. I'll go around the table the other way. Councillor Kelly, any to pull?
Yes, 8C2.
Okay. I don't really think we need to go around to, because we're going to have to do them one by one then. So we won't do a repeat of the last one. I'll just go one by one. So general information, a notification of purchases. Could I get a mover for August and September 2025 notification of purchases provided to council, August and September 2025? Moved by Councillor Enright Miller, seconded by Councillor Carr. Any questions? All in favor? That one is carried. And 8C2, moved by Councillor Kelly. I need a seconder for City of Kingston, resolution number 2025-306, request to maintain and enhance via rail services. Could I get a seconder for that one? Councillor Henderson, thank you. And Councillor Kelly, did you want to speak on that?
I just think it's a good idea to support Kingston with their letter from City Hall, and strong Kingston with VIA hopefully includes a strong Belleville, and we know that we heard some stories about a month ago just about some of the issues with VIA and cutting back services, and we have to stay strong here in Eastern Ontario.
Awesome, thank you. Any other further questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried, thank you. And rise and report, as there are no items of interest. I need a mover and a seconder, Councillor Carr and Councillor Sue, thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. The Committee of the Whole does now rise and report and return to Council at 4:40 p.m.
Thank you, Councillor Chatton. Bylaws. Reading of bylaws 25-170, 25-171, 25-172 be read and passed. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Discussion on bylaws. Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. New business. Councillor Thompson.
I'd like to request that staff prepare a report on the financial and operational implications of 2-hour free parking at all parking lots in the boundaries of the DBIA for the November 10th, 2025 council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a request for a couple staff reports, and I've given the Director of Engineering Development Service a heads up that I wasn't picking on him per se. Request a staff report for the next council meeting on Monday, November 10th, identifying any municipal concerns, including future financial impacts that should be brought to council's attention as it relates to submitting comments to the Ontario government pertaining to Bill 60, Fighting Delays Building Faster Act 2025. A second request for a staff report identifying official plan and/or zoning amendments that have been approved by City Council in relation to residential construction, but where there has not been an application for a building permit. I also request that the staff report include those applications where a building permit has been issued but expired, and for all circumstances described above, the date of the official plan or zoning amendment application, as well as the approval date. And the third request, and the clerk does have this, request a staff report for early 2026 as an update to report, staff report SGS 2024-10, outlining the exact dollar amounts in lost revenue as a consequence of the Ontario government's housing bills, including Bill 108, More Homes, More Choices Act, Bill 109, More Homes for Everyone Act, Bill 23, More Homes Built Faster Act, and more recently, Bill 17, Ontario, Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act. It's quite a mouthful, but just to get an update on the actual costs. And then my last item for new business, just if I could ask a question through you to the fire chief, if he could remind the public, I guess. I know that there was a statement provided out, but what are the main provisions of the fireworks bylaw that was passed in August of this year? And has there been any calls in relation to the fireworks bylaw? And has there been any invoices issued for call-outs as a result of violations?
Chief Smith, the floor is yours.
Through the chair. So we recently brought an updated fireworks bylaw to council and you approved. And basically the major changes that we made within that bylaw revolved around fireworks in the urban area. So what we determined was that we were not going to be allowing any fireworks in the urban area or on any city-owned lands unless by permit or special permission through the fire chief's office. So as of late, as we all are aware, there was Diwali celebrations throughout the city. Unfortunately, there were several calls to service for both fire and police due to fireworks within the urban area. Fire services responded to at least 10 incidents across the urban area, which were a result of fireworks. I can tell you that at least 4 properties will be invoiced as they were conducting unsafe acts of fireworks, which posed a hazard to both property and more specifically to people. And we are reviewing others as well. So in some cases it was unfounded simply because the fireworks display was over by the time our crews were able to respond to the neighborhoods.
Thank you.
New business, Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, I just want to follow up, if I may. What is the charges for, is it by truck or is it by person? What is the charges for that?
Chief Smith.
Through the chair. The fees are based on per truck. So we follow MTO rates, and that's how we hand out any invoices, whether it be for violations of false alarms or violations of the burning bylaw, or in this case, a fireworks permit. So we charge by the truck, and the MTO rates for 2025 are roughly $560. It's $559 and change.
Okay, any more new business? I have one. I need a motion that bylaw number 2025-174, a bylaw to approve the authorization and the execution of a medical service agreement between the Corporation of the City of Belleville and Dr. CHIF be read and passed this 27th day of October 2025. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. Discussion, all in favor, carried, and I think that is number 23, if I'm correct. Okay, motions, non-notice of motions. Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a notice of motion. The clerk has a copy. I'll read it for the record. Whereas the Ontario government, as part of its $2.1 billion primary care action plan to connect everyone in Ontario to a publicly funded family doctor or primary care team, the Ontario government is investing $4,456,100 this year to connect up to 10,675 people to primary care in Hastings and Prince Edward counties. And whereas 8 primary care teams within Hastings Prince Edward Ontario Health Team catchment area will establish a process to accept new patients and will communicate this to their local community. And whereas these organizations include the Belleville and Quinte West Community Health Center, Belleville's Queen's Family Health Team, and the Belleville Nurse Practitioner-led Clinic. And whereas the Council of the City of Belleville has invited the Hastings Prince Edward Health Team to make a deputation to Council on their efforts with this funding. And whereas Ontario's primary care action plan includes attaching everyone as of January 1st, 2026 on the healthcare, as of January 1st, 2025 on the Healthcare Connect waitlist to a primary care team by spring 2026. And whereas the City of Belleville has 30 active primary care recruitment agreements and continues with primary care recruitment efforts. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Belleville directs the Mayor to write to the Ontario Minister of Health to determine whether municipalities, and the City of Belleville in particular, need to continue with their primary care recruitment efforts in light of the Ontario government's primary care action plan targets, as well as earlier funding announcements by MPPs Tyler Alsop and Rick Barisi, and that a similar letter be sent to MPP Alsop and MPP Barisi with the same inquiries, and that these letters, both sent and received, be included on a future council agenda under correspondence upon receipt of responses by the Minister of Health as well as MPPs Alsop and Barisi. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to announcements, starting with Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a reminder that the Ward 2 Town Hall is upcoming fairly quickly on Thursday, November the 13th. It will start at 6:30 p.m. at the Jerry Masterson Community Center on Harmony Road. And the topics will include an overview of the 2026 capital budget, any other business that's before the city, and of course the most popular Q&A session that occurs with our residents. So we encourage everyone to attend, and hopefully we'll see same or similar or even greater turnout than what we've experienced in the past.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. Starting on this side, any announcements? Seeing none, Councillor Kelly, you can close.
Thank you.
You're the closer, just like the Jays game. Can you get us there in time tonight?
Sorry I missed that, Mayor.
Yeah.
I have a few announcements tonight. Just want to say over the last week and a bit, I've had a chance to pay a visit to Ontario's most accessible, cleanest, and brightest facility in the province, the Quinte Sports and Wellness Centre. And I was there for the career fair hosted by the City of Quinte West and Belleville. And that was Victoria Watts and Louisa Sorrentino from the City of Quinte West. Close to 600 people traveled to Belleville. Lots of folks from outside the region looking for work. So thanks to our economic development team and working with Quinte West for putting career fair together. Also, last week I attended something that was really a wonderful experience, and thanks to Marie and the team from HR, it was the employee wellness event. Close to 300 city employees showed up at the Quinte Sports and Wellness Center, and thank you to the People and Corporate Services Department for that. A couple of more things here. I just wanted to thank Ajax MPP Liberal, Rob Sajanic. He's the critic for economic development. He spoke up last week at Queen's Park, and he actually used the words, he talked about Prince Edward County, and he used the words Loyalist College. talked about the state of colleges in Ontario. We know that Loyalist has suspended 24 programs this year, lots of staff reduction. They are a major economic driver and institution for education in our region, and we need a strong college, so we appreciate that from Rob Sejanik. 24 colleges in Ontario, close to 600 programs canceled this year. And finally, it's 102 years old, and due to declining membership, we've lost a great service club here in the city of Belleville. And I know, Mayor, you were at the swan song, if you will, at the Belleville Club last week for the Belleville Kiwanis Club.
Yeah, Councillor Kelly, I was there, and I'll just add before you finished, it was a sad night, and I usually don't speak at closings, but overall, reminiscing of what the Kiwanis have done in our community, and you're well aware of skateboard parks and things you wanted listed, and they keep giving. So at that night, they actually donated last year funds, I believe, to the Children's Wish Foundation and to BGH Maternal Neo Care. So with that, we thanked them, Councillor Kelly, and I'll flip it back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, so just some of the legacy, the Belleville Skate Park, $100,000 at Riverside Park, not that long ago. Continuous donations to the BGH Foundation, and we all know every June in the city of Belleville for years, you could smell it in the air, the Kiwanis Chicken Barbecue. That was a major community event. Also, their work with scholarships. They had 11 active members, and they just made a donation last week to the Hospital Foundation for $4,500 and the Children's Foundation for $55,000. And in my research today, Armin Quickert was the longest serving member with the Belleville Kiwanis Club, 55 years. It's an indication of what's happening in communities across the country with volunteerism on the downslide. And here's this group in Belleville, the Belleville Kiwanis Club. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars raised to make kids have a safer community and more programs. And we're going to miss them. They did a lot of wonderful work for the past 102 years, inspiring and improving our community. So big thank you tonight to the Belleville Kiwanis Club.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson, you have a few last words?
Yes, I wasn't going to, but I felt it was proper to let everybody know that a week ago, tomorrow, I had a conversation with Premier Mr. Ford re the speed cameras. I spoke to him, I sent him an email, he called me back Tuesday morning, and we had about a half an hour talk. I can say that I didn't get too far with him, but I put it forward that the speed cameras were doing a safety measure. Of course, he got on to funding, and I said, yes, we use some of the funding for stuff the Ontario government is supposed to cover. Well, he didn't react very well to that. But the fact is, the one statement he made to me is he says, so you're telling me 79 municipalities with speed cameras no more than the 440? And I said, Premier, yes, we do. Because we're getting safety in these cities, we're slowing down traffic, and you're saying we're a cash grab. First of all, you're the one that said funding. I told him safety first, and he says to me, now you're talking about funding. I said, we're getting funding, we're using the funding for stuff the Ontario government is supposed to cover, but I commend him, and I sent him an email about it, thanking him for calling me, thanking him for having a conversation with me, and I still said at the end, you're wrong what you're doing. The municipalities have an avenue, and I wish I could have recorded it. I didn't realize I could with my cell phone, but I found out later I could. He promised that if whatever we do for safety measures, he will pay every nickel of it. So we need to have him pay up when we're putting speed bumps in, where we're doing this, he's going to pay every nickel of it, because if we put it in and we pay it, then he's double dipping us. He's already double dipping us. We had a good conversation. He ended it with Garnet. Councillor Thompson, you've had your 2 cents worth in. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Seeing that, now I ask for a confirmatory bylaw, that bylaw number 2025-173, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council meeting held on October 27th, 25, be read, that bylaw 2025-173 be read and passed. Moved by Councillor Chatton, Councillor Enright Miller, Discussion, all in favor, carried. Just like to thank staff again for pushing you in the right direction, the reports and all the hard work you do. With that, I need a motion to adjourn, moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Thompson. All in favor, carried. Thank you.